I think they're getting it twisted. LL Nation was good. Lucky Lefty Podcast. The Onora boys are in the building. Brought to you by Onora Whisky, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you choose to drink, make sure you do it.
Responsibly.
You got to be responsible, dude. We're about to hit this desert up this week. Marcus Freeman, Notre Dame. Head out to the desert to take on the 16th ranked BYU Cougars, led by quarterback Jaren Hall, who is, we'll get to how they looked against Utah State. I believe that was on Friday night. No, it was Thursday night, matter of fact. So they'll be coming off of a long week. They gave themselves time to prepare for Notre Dame, playing the early game. And shout out to Jimbo Fisher and Texas A&M. Pretty much, you know what? Just for the sake of it, because I'm not trying to steal a young man's shine. So I feel very confident that Texas A&M pretty much gave us a recruit this weekend. I'll leave it at that. I'll
That's
leave
right.
it at that. Shout out for going down to Starksville and wetting the bed to Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Agless. I don't even want to call them the Aggies. The Agless.
Agless.
Marcus Freeman and the crew, they were on the recruiting trail. Had an opportunity to talk to some of the coaches. They're super excited about this evaluation period. And I talked to one, and this goes back to some film work we did, I believe, on Thursday when you were talking about the kid from Virginia. They are super excited about having him on the defensive side of the ball. Left, you mentioned that, you wanted to go after specialists, guys that, what does this guy do? What is he great at? Instead of so many just athletes. And they feel like he is a great back end player. Not good. They think he's great. Now, we only saw one clip of him at safety, and that's when he totally destroyed the wide receiver. But they think he has potential to be great on the back end of the defense. So, um, when you hear news like that, you're starting to get excited, right, Left?
That's right. That's right. Super excited, especially with the fact that, things are going to shape up just how we want them to. Like I said with Brian Smith earlier in the previous interview, is that a lot of this is because that Marshall game put such a bad taste in our mouth because that was a game we felt like rebounding from Ohio State. Marcus Freeman is going to come on the scene, have an explosive game, this, that, and the third. And it didn't quite work out like that. Without that Marshall loss, I think we would be feeling a lot better towards everything that's going on that plays out how it did. We had a little caveat in there, but listen,
Yeah.
things are still shaping up how they are. We still have a great team with a lot of momentum coming off a great win, and things are going to be pretty, hopefully, where they were last year in terms of a consistency.
Can I ask you a serious question? A little sidebar right quick, because I don't want to forget this. If you, because you're pretty honest with these high school recruits about where they should go. I mean, Notre Dame fans might not like it to a certain extent, but you're pretty honest with the parents and the players, these young high school players, about where they fit, where they should go, what campus or system fits them the best. Should Bryce Young sit the rest of the season, bro? Like, if it's something that's really going to mess with him going to the next level, I know he's won a Heisman, but he didn't win a national championship, so it's still something there. That has to be a discussion, though, doesn't it?
Selfishly, I mean, I don't think anybody would be mad if he did. I think it would suck from a college football perspective of a fan wanting to see, Bryce Young versus Georgia and
Mm-hmm.
those great games that are scheduled to be on TV this year. But, you know, Bryce Young has fulfilled what he's needed to be a prospect. I think he's going to, regardless of coming back and playing or sitting out, his knock on him is still going to be his size, still going to be his durability, still going to be, the stuff that he can't really change. But from the things that he had to prove as a college quarterback to be ready for the next level, I think he's been able to do that. He's also won a Heisman. I think obviously he wants to be a national champion quarterback. So that's something that he probably has on the docket of things that great quarterbacks at this level do. They usually win a Heisman, get a national championship,
Yeah.
lose like 2 or 3 games in their career. He was on track of doing that. He won a Heisman. He's gotten to the big game. He's played against the defenses necessary to get you ready for the NFL. Uh, I wouldn't mind if he sat out from a quarterback's perspective, from a college football fan's perspective. Obviously you want to see the guys play because the parlays are going, you want to win your parlays, this, that, and the third. But I'm sure Saban will want him to play. We know how Saban feels about guys playing and sitting out. So I think he should take the Kyle Hamilton approach and just take it easy.
Lucky Lefty podcast. I wouldn't be mad at him, Left. I thought about it when I saw him go down, and I said to myself, I just don't know, man. If I'm you know, you heard the reports about his mom and dad coming down out of the stands, going to the locker room, and early reports are just an AC joint sprain. Maybe be back in 2 to 3 weeks. I know one thing though. If they got Jalen Milroe in the holster, dude, just waiting, man, must be nice. It must be nice to have a quarterback room like that, bro.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to feel it as a Notre Dame fan at some point, like for our quarterback room,
Yeah, our quarterback go in there and run 75 yards down the field first play.
man.
We ain't worried about it.
Oh man, game gets tight.
He's more like a Chris Richardson though. So like Anthony Richardson. He came on the scene same way.
Mhm.
He's going to be challenged to throw the football.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
so his first couple games, he's going to be able to do the crazy run around plays because teams haven't adjusted. But when they get to Auburn and the SEC championship, he'll have a bigger test, and we'll see them. But right now, I mean, he's bigger and better than most of the people he's going against with a great team around him. They may suffer some in the pass game, but they're going to still score some points.
And it's the worst time for the injury, right? Because next on the schedule for them, well, the Texas A&M game, they're going to be fired up from that or for that just off of because of the offseason stuff.
Yeah.
So Texas A&M at home won't be a problem. The Tennessee game, like if they don't have Bryce for that Tennessee game, it could be a tougher game, but they just have so much talent, man. Like
It's silly.
Jameer Gibbs and eventually these young receivers because they're still dropping the ball a lot. Because Bryce threw some dimes early in that game that they just flat out dropped. That game could have been worse than what it was for Arkansas.
Oh yeah.
Because Alabama was dominating that game, flat out dominating that game. So another question I have for you. This goes to the Notre Dame quarterbacks. Because of the lack or the narrative that there is a lack of elite offensive line play and elite targets on the outside for Notre Dame. Is it fair or can you fairly evaluate the Notre Dame quarterbacks over the last 2 years, or the last season and 4 games, in your opinion? I say this because being here in Chicago, there's a lot of rumbling going around Justin Fields, but when you have the worst offensive line and the worst group of wide receivers in the NFL, it's like, what can you really see?
Well, it's more of, you kind of eye test it. You look
Mm,
at a sorry quarterback like David Mills in the Houston Texans, and nobody's ever being like, man, they need to get a quarterback every week. And that's because for what his role is, he's in there trying to do what he can to win the game. And they have a worse offensive line, in my opinion. Worst team in the league for the last 2 years. Nobody's crying about getting the number one draft pick at Houston, even though we know it's probably going to happen due to them just being terrible in the rankings. But I think that for evaluating Notre Dame quarterbacks, we can eye test it. I thought
mm,
eye testing the first half of what Drew Pine put out there versus Cal. We didn't, we all could tell he was nervous. We could tell he wasn't doing his job. It wasn't something where it was an unfair evaluation. It was very fair.
yeah.
Even finishing the game in the second half, he did better. But leaving the game, you got to put two and two together, and you kind of get somewhere in the middle where you feel like, okay, the ceiling isn't the highest, but we can get some stuff done if we execute this, that, and the third. So I do think there's the fair evaluation of that. I think it's harder to evaluate our receiver talent
Mm,
based on the fact that we have a bunch of guys going to the league doing great things, and we can't seem to bring that same potential out uh, on the offense. So for quarterbacks, it is what it is. You have to make the throws, you have to make the plays. We can evaluate it because it's a result based business.
right.
We can wonder and question all day about the other positions because it's dependent on the quarterback position. But when you look at a team like Houston, where their quarterback is whatever, I think Justin Fields has more talent, but it's just that's just the way professional media goes when it comes for quarterbacks. But I don't look at Justin Fields and be like, man, with all the right pieces, Jalen Hurts is looking like a Super
So
Bowl
much better. So much better.
with all the right pieces. So it
Yeah.
just it just shows you that with all the right pieces, you can make anything happen with a talented guy like Justin Fields. And hopefully they, like I said, they'll allow him to go through these growing pains with the mismanagement of the team. But just like Marcus Freeman, we'll see if they give him time.
Lucky Lefty podcast brought to you by Onora Whisky. Have some special guests coming on. We're not coming off a game, but we still have the Players Lounge this week, and we'll have special guests coming up in a few moments at the top of the hour. Before we get to that, we want to continue the conversation. We want to know: do you feel like that the Notre Dame quarterbacks have had a fair opportunity to be evaluated over the last year in 4 games? Let us know what you think in the chat right now as we move forward. This was really a perfect storm as far as team, what to look forward to, and previewing BYU in the desert and recruiting. It really became a perfect storm. Let me tell you why I left. I started by watching BYU Thursday night, and I put out a tweet that watching that BYU run defense, that cat Tommy Reese was like, oh my God. Like if you thought we put up numbers against North Carolina, wait till you see how hot this running game is going to be in the desert. Then we go to Saturday. Texas A&M pretty much gifts a recruit to Notre Dame, in my opinion. Marcus Freeman just happens to be down in the state of Texas, checking on Braylon James at Stony Point. And then he goes to check out Den Geyer and the brothers, Eli and Peyton Bourne. Peyton Bourne puts on a show for his head coach. Great conversation, great vibes. The mother puts out a tweet talking about Marcus Freeman being there. Even the Oklahoma bloggers that cover Oklahoma football, they were there talking about Marcus Freeman and taking pictures. We got the swaggiest coach in all of college football. There's no question about that. Like everybody wants a piece of him, even if they're trying to take his commitments.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what does Oklahoma do for us, bro? They go get thrashed by TCU. Like it's just a perfect storm. We go see Peyton Bourne, and then Oklahoma's defense just looks absolute trash. Lose 2 straight. might be on the verge of a really bad season. Then we just talked about your favorite coach, bro. One of your favorite coaches that you had time to spend with during your recruitment. I'm sorry my Illini had to do it to him, but it is what it is. Who can win 71% of their games and go 6-1 in bowl games and get fired on a Sunday afternoon? Well, Paul Chris up in Wisconsin. Left, you talk about this all the time, man. Even where we are, how Notre Dame fans looked at this season and reacted after starting 0-2. What are we really talking about, man? Our fan base is really overreacting and expecting way too much from their programs. Because, like, let's be honest, Wisconsin's not, shout out to Jim Leonard getting his opportunity as the interim head coach up there. I'm sure he'll do a great job. But Wisconsin, I mean, what's the realistic expectation of Wisconsin? Rose Bowl every year?
Getting close to beating Ohio State.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
every Big Ten team outside of Ohio State just cares if they can get close or beat Ohio State. So I think for them having the standard, unfortunately, of not having the quarterback that they've had in the past, it's hard to get that memory out of your head when you've
I
had a
agree
Russell
with that.
Wilson.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we can't even give you too much slack. You had Russell Wilson.
Right.
So
That's a good point.
we've been holding on for that Russell Wilson this long term, and we went from Russell Wilson to this Mertz guy, and then Notre Dame done made it worse. They done took the backup from us that
Yeah.
you said wasn't ready to play for this Mertz guy, and he's a Fiesta Bowl quarterback in the league now.
Yeah.
And then he beat us with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, man, it just keeps the snowball effect from a terrible quarterback. Terrible quarterback get their great coaches fired. And when you're in that position when your room is terrible, it's like a slow death, man. You can't call enough good plays because at the end of the day, college football is so competitive. You need a playmaker to make that one or two plays that you just go, that's too good.
Yeah.
Your quarterback's not a quarterback that can do that. And, what are you going to do? It's like how Marcus Freeman's watching the offense slowly burn versus Marshall. And what is he going to do? What is he going to do? So,
Just minutes away from our special guest joining us right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure you share. Let everybody know the Lucky Lefty podcast. It's the fastest growing podcast surrounded by or centered on Notre Dame football. We spin it different. Moving forward, what's the one guy? And I'll say this, and I don't want to start anything. If there was an opportunity to get back on or get back in on a certain quarterback in the 23 class, would you swallow your pride and do it? If he made the phone call, would you swallow your pride and get back into that mix?
absolutely. I think, if anything, recruiting doesn't stop till signing day. And so I think with us being who we are, we can continue to play with in any recruitment. Hopefully that we want to be a part of, but we also have to do our part. I mean, having a great win offensively,
Yeah.
the points we did is great stuff. We can go talk about how we're rebounding with a guy in transition. So then we plug in a superstar. 45 could be 90 points. I'll gas it up like that. So I do think that everybody sees that there's still a lot of talent on the team. And then also I hope quarterbacks out there that are ready for that challenge see that there's an opportunity to be a superstar in that offense as well.
Yeah.
Tommy Reese is still a guy that is not going to give you a boring game plan. He's going to be able to give you some stuff to mix it up, take some shots. Uh, and you just got to be able to do your job. Obviously, he cares about that. You've seen that before. So
Yeah.
I think that with a superstar quarterback, you wouldn't see Tommy on the phone yelling as much. It'd probably be a lot more points on the board.
I think that's fair to say. Ultimately, moving forward, the schedule as it lays out in the month of October gives Notre Dame an incredible opportunity. As bad as things looked 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, Notre Dame has an incredible opportunity to really build on the momentum of the previous two games and run the table in October, setting up. Look, we said it last week. I don't know if there's been a bigger recruiting weekend than the Lou Holtz days when they used to have the banquet as the big recruiting weekend at the end of the year. November 5th, when they host Clemson, is turning into any big time recruit in 2023 and 2024 that you can even think of is going to be in the building November 5th when Dabo Swinney leads his Clemson Tigers into Notre Dame Stadium. So it starts this Saturday. This is when you build to that point to become the team that's able to run out on that field. And I don't even know at that point, would you still consider it an upset at that point? Because I mean, they
No,
beat us before.
it's the same feeling as when we played Georgia. It's like it's just a great game, a great matchup,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's one of those games where you really could go either way.
yeah,
Both evenly great, talented teams
yeah.
in different aspects. I think our secondary is better than their secondary, but I think their D line is 1A to our 1B, in terms of an overall D line.
They made Devin Leary look real CFL-ish.
Yeah, that's right.
You know
So
what I
it's
mean? They made
but
him look real CFL-ish instead of a possible first round pick on Saturday night. You're right
those
about
are the
that.
games though, but those are the games against the teams that as a quarterback, we
Yeah,
need to be recruiting against those games.
absolutely.
Those are the games and the quarterbacks we need to be looking at a game like North Carolina
Yeah,
versus Clemson and being like, okay, that's the type of quarterback we would love at Notre Dame, but this is what he looks like versus those teams.
right.
This
Yeah,
is what Drew Pine looks like versus those teams.
right.
Okay, let's look on that film and then let's go to a high school film and be like, who can do at least a little something versus that Clemson team?
Yeah.
That's how I recruit. I look at Bama's film, what they did versus Georgia. Okay, boom, we need somebody to get out the way of traffic.
All right, Lev.
At least a little bit.
Each and every Monday we have the Players Lounge. We're not coming off of a game. So this week we decided to have special guests on, and we have two of them waiting in the wing to join us. And Left, why don't you go ahead? We got Corey and Derek waiting in the wing. Why don't you go ahead and do the introductions?
Man, Corey and Derek, great guys, man. Put on by my guy Trevor Morris, man. Uh, this is something that they wanted to promo for this Vegas weekend. They got a huge event that Lucky Lefty fans and Lucky Lefty Podcast Nation got to come out for. They got a lot in store, man. I'm gonna let them do their thing, but they got to come to where they spend it different at, and that's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. So thanks for coming, guys.
And without further ado, Corey and Derek join us right here in the Players Lounge on this Monday on the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Happy Monday to you guys, man. How are you doing?
We're doing fantastic. Excited to be
Doing
on. Thanks
great.
for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do and what you're going to be having going on out there in the desert this weekend.
Well, I'll go ahead and get started. I started a company called Rent Like a Champion. We do a lot of college football rentals. We were on Shark Tank. Mark Cuban and Chris Sacca bought in. Obviously it started at Notre Dame. We do about 20 different college campuses. So we got real excited when we knew this was going to be going on and wanted to be part of it. We did some participation in the national championship tailgate. So we said, let's round up the troops. Let's get a big party started. So to welcome all the fans when they get down to Las Vegas. And, Corey was my college roommate and one of my best buddies and lives here in Chicago with us and said, all right, let's make this happen. He has a lot of great contacts. And, Corey, you can tell a little bit about the Vegas piece.
Yeah, so just to give you my background, I went to Notre Dame with Derek. We were roommates at Stanford Hall. I was a
Nice.
DJ back in college. So Malik, if you know Finnegan's, Coach's,
Yeah, yeah.
Senior Bar, Heartland. I used to DJ at all those bars. So
Using the place to
I've been,
be.
yeah, man, Bridget McGuire's coaches at Boat Club. I did them all, and I have experience in the nightclub business. And I remember talking to Derek back in January, and I was like, Notre Dame's going to put on a lot of events, but I was like, we need to have a nightclub party, man. We need to have everyone out. We're going to be in Vegas. We got to have a good time. So had this idea and been working on this the last 10 months, man. So we're really excited it's all coming together.
Man, 10 months is a long time. Sure.
Yeah.
So this is a new experience because you guys mainly work and deal with college campuses. What has it been like putting this together, Corey? Like the nightlife, Vegas, that's a totally different experience that you're trying to give to Irish fans. What has it been like? Has it been more difficult, or has it been more in the ballpark of kind of what you did when you were in South Bend during your college years?
Yeah, so it's, I know the industry a little better than Derek. Derek has obviously the outreach to the Notre Dame community with Rent Like a Champion. That why is a good partnership for us. So I had the idea and kind of went. I'm friends with a lot of people in Las Vegas from my club promotion days. And I asked them, I said, listen, there's going to be a lot of Notre Dame people in town. Wouldn't it be fun to get them all together? So at first they weren't really, weren't sure exactly how this was going to come together. And then bringing the added piece of Malik involved, who's going to help host it for us on Friday night, and Reggie Brooks and a few other Notre Dame football alumni to try and get, it just kind of came together. And having Derek come in, it's been a lot of fun to get together. And Malik, we're really excited to have you on Friday night. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you know what's so crazy about the event is that is bringing all the people together in the right place. I think Notre Dame does such a great job of traveling from game to game and really bringing the tradition and the spirit of Notre Dame with them. And I know that's probably been so affluent for you to be vibing off of. What has it been like just trying to gather the community in Vegas? It's not like it's in South Bend. That's a far ways away.
Yeah, it's, the one thing that when we started having this idea was Notre Dame is very family friendly. And I have 3 young children. Derek has young children. And we thought, I'm 43, graduated in 01. And, I'm going to Vegas with my wife, and with my boys. So this seemed more like so we're like, we're still going to have family friendly things. But this event was, 21 and over event. But like you said, it's the Shamrock Series. We go all over the country. Notre Dame polls from not even the country. Obviously, we're in Ireland next fall, so we go all over the world. And I was like, we're all going to be in town, Irish fans, and it's just been a lot of fun. The feedback has been phenomenal. We've had a lot of almost 200 or 300 people sign up for this event. I'm hoping to get some more. It's gonna be a fun night.
So we know the housing market changes, it goes up, it goes down, it becomes a buyer's market, a seller's market. How does that impact what you guys are able to do at different campuses around the country? Does it impact it in any way, or is the market and the business that you set for pretty stable?
Yeah, I mean, the business is pretty stable. I think when the market goes down, I think everybody tries to find a little extra change, right? And one way they do that is by renting out their houses. And, it's just for a weekend, and it comes at a pretty high cost, right? Because everyone knows what football weekends are like. They're the busiest weekends on campus. The hotel prices go up fourfold. So, it does pretty well for us. And we like making some people in the community some money, and that's really what it was about. I mean, we started this platform because we were doing some student housing around South Bend, and we didn't have anything to do. Students sign up for their house a year in advance, so we had all these empty houses, and Airbnb didn't exist, anything like that. So we were putting them on eBay, and people started finding us, said, "Hey, I'd like to list my house," So it's that same mentality that people have when there's downturns or during the good times. Everybody likes making a little money when it's hot too. But it hasn't really affected us that much. Obviously, COVID did affect us quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've been able to push on through it. And, we've also paired with the PGA. We're doing golf events now, which is pretty sweet. All the one from the guys you've never heard of to the top name guys, stay in our houses around the golf events too. So we've been trying to spread out a little bit. Obviously, since COVID, there was no football, and it was or less football, let's say. So
now let's talking about football. You're coming out to Vegas. You've seen how the team has had its ups and downs. What's your take on how the season is going? And you seeing the trend? I think we're on a rebound on the streak right now, but I don't know. I mean, it's been kind of halfway on both sides.
I mean, we're going to try to find our identity, right? I mean, I think it's a big transition right now. I think there are a couple key positions we didn't really know what we were going to get yet, right? We are coming from changing some key roles out and coaching roles, and so I think everyone always has lofty expectations, but it's more helpful, when you start seeing some consistent play, and I think we're going to start seeing that now.
Yeah.
At least I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the fan base, like you guys are alums, do you still have the same amount of excitement about the Marcus Freeman regime and the start of it and the direction of the program?
I mean, I do. I mean, none of these coaches that started off in the beginning did great right out of the gates. Everyone has a little ramp up time. Dabo, all these guys that have created these great programs, they need a little bit of time. And I think that he deserves it. He's a great guy, a fantastic leader. People love playing for him. He's recruiting well. I mean, so I think all the signs point in the right direction. You can't be so nearsighted if you have one or two tough games. Really, one tough game, because Ohio State is, they're a top program. So you can't expect to, when right out the gates, be blowing those guys away. So I'm pretty confident.
And I'll jump in here real quick just to give you another perspective. Malik, I live in Naperville, so there's a lot of Southside Irish around, a lot of Irish fans. In Chicagoland area, either you love Notre Dame or you hate Notre Dame. And I have friends that hate Notre Dame, and that's cool. They whenever we lose, I'm always getting text messages and phone calls. And I'm not kidding. After Marcus Freeman got hired and the speeches and all the media blitz around him, I had a lot of people call me and text me. They're like, man, I might have to become a Notre Dame fan now. Like he really changed the narrative of who we are and our identity and his passion. I mean, I'm so excited for the Marcus Freeman era. I know it's off to a rocky start, but as alumni and his friends, we're all going to rally around him. And I think it's going to be greener pastures for many, many years to come.
Oh, heck yeah.
All right, Corey, if you were DJing this weekend, what are you jumping it off with, Corey? That first song is very important to the set.
Very important.
Like, what would you jump it off with in Vegas if you were DJing this weekend?
So I'm not DJing. I did think about opening up on Friday night, but we're very excited. The DJ on Friday night is an open format DJ who's going to be playing hip hop and house music, so a little bit of both. But I am hip hop at heart. I'm a child of the '90s. So I'd have to say my favorite hip hop group is Outkast. I might have to start with like Rosa Parks just to get it going. That's what I used to play back in the day. I mean, that's where I go. I like Wu-Tang a lot too, but Outkast gets people dancing. Wu-Tang is not as much dancing, so I think I'd have to start with Outkast just to get things going.
Yeah, Wu-Tang makes you want to like beat each other over the head.
Yeah. Wu-Tang is not dancing music.
No. We want the ladies on the dance floor definitely dancing.
Exactly.
Looking up the podcast. Let me tell you something, man. In the world of college football and what you guys do, I'm sure you have experience with this. There are certain places you go that you would say, I never thought I would enjoy myself on a football weekend at this place.
Yeah.
I had that opportunity about 8 years ago when I was invited to go to the Grove with a good friend of mine for Ole Miss versus Mississippi State.
Wow.
Now, me personally, my grandparents came from Mississippi. I've been down there as a child many times during the summer. Never wanted to go back once I grew up. Like, all right, that's enough for me. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to enjoy this game. He's like, no, you got to see the Grove. Like, you got to experience the Grove. and he was absolutely right. It was, man, everybody was super nice. I mean, they were super nice because of who I was with. I understood that. But I was like, yo, I never thought I would enjoy a football weekend at Ole Miss in the Grove. And it was a great experience. Like in your travels and what you guys do, is there one place that Notre Dame fans you would pretty much recommend, like you have to go to this spot for a football weekend? You probably wouldn't think that you would love it, but it's a great time.
I hate to say it because they're on our schedule this year, but Clemson is one of my favorites. My youngest sister was a Clemson cheerleader, and I didn't really understand very much about it. I also didn't understand why they dress up for their football games. But to go down there, I mean, they're crazy about it. I mean, as crazy as we are about it, and they're tailgating everywhere. The couple nice perks about their stadium: you can walk in and out. You can walk in and out and have a drink and come back in.
What?
You know, they're all about the party. It is. I was shocked, but it's a good old time. They get rowdy, and they make a whole week or long weekend out of it. And it's exciting. Except don't go to the highest part of that stadium. It is the steepest, scariest walk I've ever seen. Well, I love going back to when we played there and it came down to the wire in the rainiest football game I've ever been to before I went to the Bears game, home opener this week, which was just as bad. But, just wild good times. I had some just going there without the Irish being there and get to take it all in and see them play their rivals. That's a big one for me that I think was super exciting and didn't really know anything about it, and, caught me off guard when I checked it out.
Okay. Now, you're talking about big moments and catching off guard. We have to ask you about the Shark Tank and that experience. What was that being in the essence of it? Because you see it on TV all the time. I watch it all the time. What was that in the moment like?
So it's kind of interesting. Mike Doyle was running like a champion for us. He was one that started as an intern for us, and he was the one that put our application out there, and he didn't even tell us. So when we found out, they said, "Hey, you gotta film this video in the next 48 hours." I happen to be out of the country, so I couldn't do it. And my business partner, Drew Mitchell, and Mike Doyle did the video. They submitted it. We got on. So we all went out there together. They definitely had to deal with the limelight and the pressure of, the spotlight being on their faces and walking out in front of those talented sharks. I just had to sit there and bite my fingernails. You always want to get a deal. I think it was super exciting to have that kind of level of entrepreneurs and business help. But it was really thrilling to go out, film it. We then did once we got a deal, we were super excited. We then did a follow-up game where we went and drank beers and played bags with Cuban and Chris Sacca at an SEC football game. So we had a follow-up episode. So, it's a little less stressful when you get to do that because that's all fun and not so much worried about whether you're going to get a deal or not. You're really just enjoying yourself and taking in the fruits of your labor. But it was super exciting. It's a challenge, and it was definitely a highlight of I think having Rent Like a Champion and really growing the brand. It did a lot for us getting on Shark Tank.
They say the show is really like a long time. Like it's like a couple of hours. It's not like it's a 45-minute slot. They're asking you a ton of questions.
Oh, yeah. They ask you a ton of questions, and you just stand outside at the end of this platform. You think that you walk out and they start firing 5 questions off and then you get a deal or not. It's not. You walk out, you stand there, and they say, walk out again. And you're standing there kind of in dead silence looking at, a couple billionaires in the eyes that are trying to roast you, So it's intimidating. I'm glad that my partners were able to do it and I didn't have to go through that. But it was like an hour and something that they filmed, for that little segment, but it shows up like 4 or 5 minutes on TV. So
That's incredible. Hey, Derek, what's your college spot?
My college spot?
Well, no, Corey, you said Clemson, right?
Oh no,
No,
I'd say Clemson. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the
I,
best
I
spot to visit for you?
Yeah.
I would say so. Derek and I both graduated in '01. So I remember my junior year. We went to the Big House.
Mhm.
Notre Dame played, and that was after they had just made an
Good game.
expansion. And that game, we in 2000, it was my junior year of 2000. We broke the record for the highest attendance ever for a college football game. It has thus obviously been broken since then because it's been 22 years. But just going to the Big House, I know they're a rival of ours, and walking down, like there's no football stadium like that where you actually the stadium is like underground, which I honestly
Right.
didn't really know. And they're a rival, but a lot of respect for where I'm in the Midwest, so I know a lot of Michigan people, and it was just an electric atmosphere. So a lot of respect for Michigan. This is obviously before Jim Harbaugh got there. And it was just a fun weekend, man. I was just blown away at how great Notre Dame, and I missed the rivalry, man. I hope it comes back. Notre Dame, Michigan was amazing.
I'm right there with you, man. My first tailgating experience as a kid was actually at Michigan Stadium. Like my
Yeah,
family, they're alums, and I remember going up there for the Michigan State game. Malik, I tell you this all the time, throwing the Nerf football around on the
Yeah.
Michigan golf course across the
Oh
street.
yeah. That's
Tailgating.
true.
And I'm like, yo, this is incredible. And so my aunt is Michigan and my uncle was Michigan State. So this is like a split house, right? So my cousin and I, we wore Michigan jerseys for the first half, and then we switched in the second half, right? This is way it was a great experience, man. We were two young kids running around the stadium, bugging people, probably getting on people's nerves, but that was like the first time I'm like, yo, that was like my brown sugar moment. Like that was the moment I fell in love with college football. Like that's the moment. So
yeah.
for you guys, like I know you went to Notre Dame, and we asked Malik and Cam McDaniel this on Friday. Give me your best memory of the one thing that you'll never forget about a football weekend at Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what yours is, Corey, but I would say when Michigan. So once again, kind of going back to our Bob Davie era was not our most successful, but it was fun. Michigan won the national championship game and then came and opened the next season at ND.
Mm-hmm.
And we beat them and we charged the field. And that was, unfortunately, that was, one of the highlights that we won. I have a couple other tight ones. Same era, we lost to Nebraska last second. That was just a nail biter, just dagger through the heart. And then it's hard to not go with the Bush push too. I mean, there's just so many great moments.
Yeah.
I just hate being on the losing end of a couple of them, but
Yeah.
those are just a couple highlights. But I would say rushing the field when they were reigning national champions was pretty sweet. It's the only time that I ever did that. I think I'm too old to do that now, but that was mine.
Yeah, my the greatest college experience, unfortunately, football experience that I witnessed was the Leinart Bush game with the Bush push. I mean, that was the most electric atmosphere I've ever been a part of, as we did end up losing the game. But the green jerseys, I mean, I get chills retelling the story right now. It was, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to copy that. I do have some memories, again, of a couple losing. I remember Notre Dame, Michigan State, my senior year, when Michigan State scored on the last play at Tony Driver. I loved him. I was friends with TD, and Tony blitzed, and they ran a slant, and he ran an 80-yard pass. I mean, there's a few memories that have just – and Tony, if you listen to this, I apologize for bringing that up for you, man. So a couple – there's a couple plays of losing plays, but honestly, the most memory being – Malik, you had this on the field, but I will say my senior year, singing the alma mater – with my friends up in the student section, our last home game.
The last home game. Yep. The
last home game, your senior, even though we weren't players, but to put our arms around each other, lock around, and I mean, the students are crying, man. It's our senior year. We'll never do this again as students.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the biggest memories for me, because it's a
Real
special
emotional moment.
place. And Malik, I'm sure you remember the last time you did it as on the field. It's just a really special place, man.
Is it hard, even though you went there, is it hard to convey properly how special of a place that campus is? And Cam, when I asked him the same question I just asked you guys, Cam said, I just remember walking around the stadium during the week and saying to myself, some legendary people have watched football games in this stadium. Presidents have watched football games in this stadium. Like, can you fully, did it take you actually graduating and getting away from the campus to really kind of understand what you had been a part of as a student?
I mean, I was such a Notre Dame fan all my life. It was, it was where I wanted to go since the time I was in second grade, So I was obsessed with football and, followed them every week. So I knew what I was going to be part of. But when I got there and I was with my family, I think that's one of the things that makes it special too. It's a family affair. It's generational, right? This isn't like a flash in the pan. I remember walking around with my family, and my mom was crying and marching, where you're really kind of taking in that not just the football tradition, but the family tradition and the community tradition around Notre Dame football. And I think when people get there and you bring friends and they hear about it, they say, yeah. And then they see it and they feel it. So I felt like I knew what I was part of when I was there. I think you just appreciate it at different stages of life. Now, since I have two little girls, 4 and 2, and I bring them to a game, and that makes me so proud to be able to do that. And so, I don't know. I think you just appreciate it differently at different stages. But I was always aware and just so proud to be part of it and walk around that campus and soak it in.
Yeah, I would concur. My brother went to Notre Dame, so the family affair thing, I completely agree with. We're both Irish Catholic, born and raised. He was a senior when I was a freshman, and I remember going to visit him sophomore siblings weekend when I was a junior in high school, and I was like, yeah, I need to go to school here too. And to Derek's point, I have a 6, 5, and 2-year-old. My wife is like, family tradition. We're going to a game every year. These kids are going to grow up.
Nice.
Hopefully all 3 going to Notre Dame, but we're going to the UNLV game with Derek and his kids. So we're very much looking forward to making a family tradition of going to campus every year. But it's just hard to put into words. And I think, as a student, Malik, you get it. It was just amazing. Like you said, game day, home weeks, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, going to DeBartolo Hall, going to MCOB and like walk around campus. And gosh, even if game day was there that Saturday, it's just electric. And it's just hard to put into words unless you experience it. It was amazing.
So I'm going to assume that you both are Chicago Bears fans.
I am. Season ticket holder and fan.
Okay.
Yes.
Bears tailgate versus Notre Dame tailgate.
It's not close. Notre Dame.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Notre Dame.
No.
We've thrown some big tailgates. We threw a tailgate at the national championship down in Alabama. A quick story. I don't know how much time we have left, but I DJ'd the tailgate, of course, and Derek sponsored it. So he's like, just go out and rent some DJ equipment. And they probably thought I was going to have like 2 little speakers. I rented 2 towers of speakers, a stage, lights. We had 3,000 people at our tailgate. 3,000 people.
Wow.
It literally, and I DJ'd for about 8 hours at the Notre Dame National Championship. And there was a quote in the Florida newspaper that said, Alabama dominated on the field, but Notre Dame dominated in the parking lot. And there's a picture of our tailgate. So we know a thing about two-throwing parties. And I will say one more thing. I don't know how much time we have, but
no, you got time.
You got it.
A quick more plug about Friday night. So we do, for those that are going to Las Vegas, we do have a password, Malik. So if you want to spread this word, so the password is Irish. So information about Friday night. So it's free cover charge for anyone that comes and uses this password called Irish. It's free cover for both girls and guys until midnight. If you make it past it, you're more than welcome to come. It is they do, I think it's $50 a guy and 25 for the girls past midnight. So you want to get there early enough. What's really cool about this is they're going to deck out all the employees and the bottle service girls in green and gold.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
gonna have Notre Dame. They're gonna have Notre Dame up on all the LED screens. They're gonna have Notre Dame flags everywhere. We obviously are using Irish. We can't brand it with the ND logo, obviously for trademark infringement, but we're using Irish. So yeah, the password is Irish for anyone that's coming to Las Vegas on Friday night. Just get to Marquee Nightclub at the Cosmopolitan Hotel. Malik's going to be there with a couple other football players. Derek and I are going to be there with our wives, having a good old time. So just a last little quick plug about Friday night.
There we go.
Yeah, come meet me on the dance floor.
Yeah.
So what's
That's right,
next?
guys. Great.
What's next for the business? What's next for you guys, man? You're talking about everything you're doing right now. Are you thinking about expanding? You talk about golf. You're doing that. Are you expanding to the NFL or any other areas? What's next for the business?
I mean, for Rent Like a Champion, it's really just sticking with college football and growing the golf business. We did a lot with the Ryder Cup that was up here in Wisconsin this year, which was a lot of fun. Did a lot of corporate sponsorships. Right now, we've mostly been doing just players and caddies and groups like that. I think we'll try to expand into fans. Golf fans are a little different than football fans, but so that's pretty exciting. Obviously, it's going to be a real hot real estate market here coming up the next couple of years, as you're talking about. Everyone's unsure of what happened with interest rates and everything else. So just try to look for opportunities as they come up, and I think there will be plenty. So really just focus on college football and golf. No plans to go too much outside of that at this point.
Well, man, it's been a pleasure to have both of you guys as Notre Dame alums here on the Players Lounge each and every Monday. We have it right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Give me your prediction for the game.
Ooh. I think that we're going to continue the bounce back. I think we're going to get more consistent play. I don't know. BYU's been consistently good, so I think they're going to put up some points. I'm going to go 33-27 Irish.
Ooh, you got a score. Okay.
I'll take it. Derek, you got a prediction for us?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think it's going to be that high score. I think it'll be BYU. I think it's going to be one of our toughest opponents of the year, other than Ohio State, obviously. I will say the one thing I say every single time when I'm screaming at my television is get the ball to 87. The best player on the field. Throw it to 87, run it to 87, just get the ball to Baby Gronk, and we'll be fine. So yeah, I'll go like 24-21. I think it's going to be as a high scoring game. But I think we're going to come out on top.
Okay. I love that. Get the ball to 87.
Man, I don't know if Vegas is ready for a bunch of Irish fans intoxicated flowing out of that stadium after a win. I don't know if Vegas is ready for that, but I think that's what they're going to get to experience on Saturday night, late Saturday night. It's going to be a great time. Once again, look, Rent Like a Champion, Derek, Corey, the entire staff, we love what you do. Thank you for everything that you've given, not only to college football, but to the Notre Dame community, and continued success in all of your future endeavors, and blessings upon you guys and your family.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for having us. We're excited to go celebrate with everybody down in Vegas. I mean, if you're not having fun in Vegas, it's your own fault. So we're excited to host everybody and go snag a win while we're at it.
That's right.
Vegas is literally the one city I can say I've never had a bad time.
Yeah.
Ever. Corey, Derek, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Catch you guys.
All right, that's Derek and Corey from Rent Like a Champion. And look, yo, man, I almost get jealous, bro. I didn't go. I stayed in state. I went to the University of Illinois. I love my time. You know, I love how we were able to contribute to the firing of Paul Chris this weekend. You know,
That's petty.
and to come back and do it with their former head coach.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, man. I've had the opportunity through you meet players, staff, administrators, and former students, and Corey and Derek just fall right in line with, you know, the spirit of the school, the spirit of the program, and you can't help but to be thoroughly impressed about how they represent Notre Dame. It's incredible, man. And I can only be a fan, but I'm cool just being a fan and being a part of it.
No doubt. No, it's a expansive community, man. You never know who graduated from Notre Dame. They always turn out to be doing something pretty interesting and cool to partner and join with. So
yeah,
it'll be fun with those guys.
I just hate that they had to go through the Bob Davie era, though.
Man,
like guys like
Davie,
that, at least give
fan,
them the Charlie Weiss era, right? They had to go through the Bob Davie era as students, man. But that's all right. Yo, we have some comments. Stephen Martinez said the Rose Bowl is awesome. It's an awesome stadium to watch a night game. Got to see the Irish play against UCLA back in 2007. Great game. I know what. I got to watch a great game in the Rose Bowl this weekend, and your boy put on a show, bro.
Oh, yeah?
That UCLA quarterback.
Yeah, I told you.
Yeah, you did. Right. Yeah, you told us. He did his thing.
He gonna give Caleb a run for Pac-12 quarterback of the year. That's for sure.
You know what, man? USC, they didn't impress me Saturday, bro. Because I felt like they should have just. It was almost like they really didn't play because they knew Arizona State had no chance of beating them.
Yeah, they knew Arizona State wasn't going to.
But shout out to Emory Jones. I think he showed himself well.
Yeah.
Against USC. So another transfer quarterback, formerly at Florida, now playing with the Sun Devils. USC gets the win. Anthony Solomon says, when I was in the military, I drank beer on the 50-yard line at Clemson with some friends that were Clemson students. So once again, another vote for that Clemson experience.
Yeah, that Clemson experience seems like it's taking over the chat now. We got
hey, man. I'm going to be petty for a moment, bro. Clemson is what? 2 national championships in right now?
Yeah.
It's about time for them to build some locker rooms on the side they come in on, bro.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Because that bus ride, dog, that's corny to me. That's just me. We're ready to play football. Nobody want to watch buses driving around the street on the broadcast. It's mad corny. Hey, come on, man. Y'all got enough money. Switch the locker rooms on the other side. Come out, run down the hill, rub the rock, and let's get it popping. What are we doing? We literally waste 2 minutes of broadcast time watching buses drive around the corner.
Yeah.
Talking about how special it is. Dude, that's not special.
Ain't nothing special about riding the bus.
Hey, as a shorty, though, the bus was popping, especially when you were going to see a girl, dude. He was like, let me hop on this bus, go over here, check her out, go to the movies. Thought you were really doing something.
Thought you was grown.
Yeah, boy. Then you got your license.
Then it was over.
You realize how whack. Like, man, I'm not doing this ever again.
Yeah, the bus just not the move once you get your license. It's a whole new world, man, stepping into.
But yeah, I need Clemson to kind of step the game up, use that money wisely, and
instead of spending it on slides and stuff.
You crazy right now, bro.
For real, they spend all these playground slides. Like, come on now.
Oh man. On a scale of 1 to 10, how worried are you about BYU?
Not worried at all.
Yeah, I'm at about a 1, bro. I'm at about a 1. I promise you, man. And I know a lot of fans are like, man, they got to prove it. Notre Dame would have to play awful on Saturday.
Drew would have to be like, I want the other team to win. He would have to tell us that. I want the other guys to win. He had to tell me that.
And hand it off to him like here.
Yeah, and hand it off to him. Marcus Freeman would like let, Mike Mickens do the head coaching job, and he'll, want to sit in the stands. There had to be some crazy stuff going on. Because I just don't believe BYU has enough talent. Like for instance, sometimes when the game is getting close to the end, a team's giving up. You can just run that thing right and left, and they just like, you know what, we want to get out of here.
Yeah.
So this is a team that just wants to get out of here. They like that they came to Vegas. They get to see the lights and stuff. They probably can't do much because they're Mormon, but it's like a museum for them. They go home, play in the Radiant Stadium. They probably won't play in the NFL stadium all season. We at least give you gifts and stuff for coming.
Like I said, I just watched Utah State, as our guy Greg says in the chat, Greg Lisman Jr. If Utah State can run close to 200 yards on BYU, I better see 250 to 300 yards Saturday. You just might. You just might. You might see 3 running backs go over 100 yards total, 100 total yards again for 2 consecutive games. Like, it's possible. It's very possible. Very possible. Lucky Lefty Podcast, man. Great show today. Hope you guys enjoyed the Players Lounge and the guys from Rent Like a Champion. Fantastic having the opportunity to meet them. Malik had already had a relationship. Once again, Malik's going to be hosting the event, the party out there this weekend for Irish fans. If you're not going, but you know someone that's going, let them know. Once again, Irish is that secret word. And you get in, no cover. I can't tell you the last time I got into a party, no cover. Well, the last time I was in LA with you. That was the last time I got into a spot. That's because Left is that dude.
No, not me. No.
It's because Left is that dude. They recognized him from TV. And it was like, oh, that's that dude.
Yeah, they recognize me from TV in the place of LA where everybody's on TV now.
Yeah, we got in the spot, no cover, and then almost got escorted out by the black coats.
Oh, yeah. Having contraband, having the whiskey. I was like, it's his gift. What do you mean?
That's us too. That's what we do when we're in the place to be. We get in and then we almost get thrown out. That's because we spin it different everywhere we go. We spin it different everywhere we go. Man, any closing remarks, man? We'll get deeper into the matchup with BYU and Notre Dame. As I said before, this weekend was a perfect storm. We talked about it earlier with Texas A&M and their awful weekend, basically gifting a recruit to Notre Dame, in my opinion. This is my opinion. And then the perfect storm for a second consecutive week. Brent Venables and his defense just looking god awful. They looked awful at home against Kansas State. They go on the road and they get stung by the Horned Frogs. Horned Frogs put up 62 before they caught Aaron Judge, bro.
They had the quarterback run like a 67-yard just.
Your boy Dugan?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
So, and that's good vibes coming off of Marcus Freeman being in Texas, looking over his guys, Braylon James and Peyton Bowen. Might as well throw Eli Bowen in there.
That's right.
Might have had a little chat with Jackson Arnold too. Like, are you sure you want to go to Oklahoma, my dude?
That's right.
Are you sure? Lucky Lefty Podcast, man. We spin it different. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's pettiest story? Petty Junction.
Petticoat Junction.
Petty Junction, Pettiest Stories of the Day, brought to you by Onora Whisky. OnoraWhisky.com, that premium American whiskey. OnoraWhisky.com. Hey, bro, it was too much. I thought about it and I said, no, man, we got to relax. We got to relax. I wanted to put the video up, and I'm going to have to tell the story. The video of your boy Drewski at the Auburn football game this weekend. Drewski was mad petty, bro.
Like, hey, you gave him
To go to the official and say, yo, what you got on that parlay, bro? I know you got something on that parlay. And the official was dying laughing. Everybody's dying laughing. It's just, man, the language he put up, I really couldn't. Man, I really couldn't do the video as much as I wanted to. I just couldn't.
Just know he was asking if he was on that parlay.
And you can tell he was tipsy. You can tell he had been drinking. You can tell he had been drinking. He was there for the LSU Auburn game. Yo, that was mad petty, man. Like, don't put that man on video. And the ref is laughing.
Who's the ref, though?
Ref is like, yeah, I don't have a parlay on this game, but I got a parlay going.
Somebody else got a parlay that I know. I know a guy.
And shout out to everybody that got on that high horse and wanted to come at LeBron James for posting the song that he was listening to off the new Tory Lanez album. Like, man, dude, give it a break, man. Like, this dude, like, he's not allowed to listen to a song that might say something crazy. That's all of us. Even girls get on the dance floor and dance to misogynistic songs. Like, it's music. And honestly, the beat was a bop. I'm going to keep it a buck, and I'm not even a Tory Lanez fan like that. But everybody wants to jump on LeBron. Come on, you got to be a better example. You can't be posting that.
LeBron be cussing on the shop, so I don't want to hear it.
Like, man, give me a break, bro. Give me a break.
I want to put Robert Griffin on the petty train. I just think he just is a petty person on the broadcast. I think his broadcast is kind of entertaining, but it's a little petty, man. It's just a little petty.
Man, that's amazing. Whew. Man, let me tell you something, bro. I got to put the Bears organization on the petty train, bro. Because this bull crap they've given Justin Fields.
You saying it's Justin Fields' fault?
No, I'm talking about the organization and the bull crap they put around him, including Cole Kmet. Not saying that Cole Kmet is bull crap, but it's like, fam.
He ain't helping.
Yo, I just pray that young man survives. That's all I can do. I pray that he survives. And last but not least, Patrick Mahomes. I got to put you on the petty train. You ain't have to do that to that man last night, bro. You could have just run out of bounds. Come back on the next down and threw a touchdown. You didn't have to spin on that man, dude. You didn't have to do that. That's an all-pro linebacker, man.
All-pro linebacker.
First team. Super Bowl champion. Why are you doing it? That man has kids.
Man got kids, man.
Why are you doing that to that man on Sunday Night Football with the whole nation watching? Why would you do that?
Patrick Mahomes doing his thing, man.
Why would you do that? That's just unnecessary, dude. And then didn't spin and run it in. Spun, took a step, and shot it like a Steph Curry step back three. Oh, man.
Craziness.
Man, get with us, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty podcast. It's been great. Shout out to Rent Like a Champion for joining us.
That's right.
The Players Lounge, man. We appreciate him for Derek and Corey and the rest of the Rent Like a Champion. Go follow them. Rent Like a Champion. You can go do a Google search. Matter of fact, let me give you rentlikeachampion.com, rentlikeachampion.com. They'll solve all your needs for housing. If you're going for a football weekend, so for the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire, I'm Shaun Davis at SD2 Mics. We'll see you tomorrow for another edition of the Lucky Lefty podcast. Have a fantastic Monday, but most of all, make sure you got to spend it different. We'll see you tomorrow, same time. Yeah.